Okay, so are you ready to dive into this? We're tackling Beckett today.
We are. We're doing it.
Waiting for Godot.
One of the best.
It's a big one.
It is a big one. It's a tough one.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody kind of knows, at least vaguely, they know the idea of waiting for Godot.
You know, two guys hanging out, waiting for somebody to show up.
Right. And it's become such a thing.
We use it in everyday language now.
Yes.
All the time.
Waiting for Godot.
It's true, yeah.
So, what is it about this play that is so enduring?
I think the simplicity of it
Okay.
is what's so brilliant. You have these two guys, Vladimir and Estragon, and they're stuck in this cyclical loop of just waiting and trying to make sense of their existence and the world around them.
And it's so relatable in a way.
It is, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
We've all been in that position of waiting for something.
Totally.
Where you're just like, ugh, when is this going to happen?
And just the feeling of anticipation.
Yes.
And not knowing what's going to happen or if anything's going to happen.
Exactly. It's very relatable.
Okay, but before we go too far, can we set the scene? Like,
yes.
Literally, what is the setting?
Very minimal, very stark. You've got a country road, essentially, a single bare tree.
Okay.
And that's kind of it. It's really highlighting that minimalist aesthetic.
Okay.
Which, again, I think lends itself to the power of it. It's stripped down to the bare essentials.
Okay.
And everything feels just a little bit,
New.
Off kilter.
A little bit off.
Yeah.
Like the world's not quite right.
So it's two guys by a tree on a road, and they're talking.
They are, and the dialogue is fascinating.
Oh, okay.
Because right from the start, you get this sense of repetition.
Okay.
Characters who are caught in this cycle that they can't escape. Like, right away, Vladimir is thrilled to see Estragon, but Estragon doesn't remember if he was even there the day before.
Wow.
Which happens to all of us, I'm sure.
Right.
But it's highlighted.
Yeah, no, I was going to say. Yeah. I was going to say, that's...
I forget what I had for breakfast.
Relatable content, right?
Yeah.
But it's highlighted in a way that's like...
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their memories are, like, non-existent, practically.
Yes. It's almost like their memories are as barren as the landscape.
Okay.
They're stuck in,
Okay, so we've got these two guys who are waiting for Godot.
Yes.
Who is Godot?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. Because they don't...
We never know.
No.
You never find out.
Right. And that's the point.
And that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
Because Beckett, he doesn't want to give you a straight answer.
Okay.
He wants you to find your own meaning, right?
Okay.
Grapple with these existential questions.
So is Godot like God? Is he...
He could be.
Like a savior? Is he just some random dude?
He could be a figment of their imagination.
Okay.
He could be a symbol of hope that's constantly deferred. Or is he just a reminder that sometimes there is no answer?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are big questions.
Big questions.
Yeah.
So, and it gets better.
Okay.
It gets better. Act I, we meet Pozzo and Lucky.
Okay.
And they show up, and it's this...
And this is important.
Very important, yeah. It's this punch to the gut,
Okay.
Because they come in, and it's this bizarre power dynamic, and it just throws the play's themes of dominance and servitude into sharp relief.
Okay, and so describe this power dynamic a little bit, because it is strange.
It's strange. So Pozzo is very clearly in charge initially, but he's chained to Lucky. And Lucky is this,
Okay.
He's tied to him by this rope, and I want to be very clear, this is not a casual, oh, I'm your best friend rope. This is a rope. Like, he's being led around on this rope.
Wow.
And you can't help but think about the baggage.
Yeah, that Lucky's carrying, too.
Yeah.
He's got these bags, these heavy bags he's forced to haul around, and it's a very, very stark visual representation of the burden of dependence, the cost of servitude.
So are they? Yes.
Yes. It's deeper than just these two characters, though.
Okay.
This is Beckett reflecting on society as a whole, on the structures that we create, the hierarchies that we maintain.
Okay.
He's holding up a mirror.
Wow.
To the world, basically.
No.
And he's making us confront these uncomfortable truths.
So it's not just like...
It's not just two guys on a road.
Okay, it's like
it's a whole
commentary on
like
the human condition,
the power
dynamics that exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is what makes Waiting for Godot so brilliant and so powerful.
Okay.
Because it stays with you.
Okay.
And it's not just this straightforward, waiting for this thing.
Right.
It's about our relationship with power, with freedom.
With the very meaning of our existence. And Beckett makes you question.
Wow. Wow.
Everything you know. Everything you thought you knew about the world, about how we interact with each other.
And he's not...
He's not afraid to go there.
Yeah, he's not shying away from the dark from him.
He goes straight to the darkness.
Yeah.
The existential dread of it all. But he also knows how to find humor in those dark places.
Where's the humor in this?
Oh, there's humor everywhere.
Okay.
Like, one of my favorite things is how Estragon, he's so distracted by his feet.
Okay.
Always complaining about his boots, his aching feet. And it's such a small thing.
Right.
But it's so funny.
Yeah.
And then you've got Vladimir and Estragon bickering about absolutely nothing.
Right.
Like, constantly. It's that blend of tragedy and comedy, despair and absurdity that makes it so captivating.
It's almost like he's saying,
yes,
life is absurd, but it's also hilarious.
But you have to laugh.
Yes.
Otherwise, what are you going to do?
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
But when we come back, we will continue our deep dive into Waiting for Godot.
I can't wait. At the end of Act 1, Vladimir and Estragon decide to wait for Godot, but we're talking about waiting for Godot here.
Right, like saying you'll do something and actually doing it are two very different things.
Especially in this play.
Yep.
But Act 2 starts, and it's almost like waking up from this weird dream.
Yeah.
But realizing you're back where you started.
Same tree, same road.
Same everything. Same sense of nothing ever changing.
So what happens? Anything new in Act 2?
Well, someone new, kinda. The boy shows up again.
Oh, right, the messenger.
Right, Godot's messenger. So naturally you're thinking, this is it, Godot time.
Right, finally.
Not so fast. Seems like even Godot's messengers can't escape this whole ambiguity and delay thing.
So no Godot.
Nope. Same message as before. Can't come today, but surely tomorrow.
You're kidding me.
Nope. Same song and dance.
You'd think at some point Vladimir and Estragon would be like, enough is enough. We're going to find this Godot ourselves.
Right, but that's the thing about hope.
What is it?
It can make you passive, you know?
Okay, I see what you mean.
So instead of getting angry, they just accept it.
Another day, another Godot-shaped hole in their lives.
Exactly. Like Beckett is saying, this is what happens when you let expectations rule your life. You forget to actually live.
It's deep.
It is. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, there's this detail about the boy.
What about him?
So in he says he's never met Vladimir and Estragon, right? Act 2, different boy. They even say he looks different.
Hold on, what? They swapped out the boy. Why even bother with that?
Because Beckett doesn't do random details that change. It's huge. It's all about time.
Time.
Time. Think about it. Time is passing, but for those two, it's like the same day on repeat.
Well, it's not even about the boy, really.
Not really. It's about how time is unreliable in this play. It's a fluid thing.
And then Pozzo and Lucky come back.
Oh yeah, time for round 2.
But it's not the same, is it?
Not even close. The power dynamic flipped on its head.
Really? How so?
Pozzo is blind now, helpless.
Wow.
Totally reliant on Lucky.
And what about Lucky?
He's in charge now, leading Pozzo around by that same rope.
Talk about role reversal.
Right. Shows you how fleeting power can be. And here's the kicker. Neither of them remember Vladimir and Estragon.
Seriously.
Seriously. It's like their past encounter never happened.
Adds a whole new layer of weird to everything.
Exactly. Adds to the existential confusion, you know? Like, even memories can't be trusted in this world.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But don't forget, Beckett still finds time for humor.
Okay, like what?
Vladimir's bathroom breaks. Every time he comes back, Estragon is asleep.
He falls asleep that much.
Every single time. It's a running gag, but it also shows how disconnected they are.
From each other, from reality, from time.
All of it. They're just adrift. But as Act 2 ends, there's that feeling again.
What feeling?
Will Godot show up? Will anything change?
Last act. Final countdown. Does Godot actually grace us with his presence?
Well, if you're looking for a grand entrance, a big reveal, you're going to be disappointed. But that's the point, isn't it?
So, more waiting, more of the same.
You could say that. The boy returns, same song and dance. Godot sends his regrets. But tomorrow is the day.
It's almost cruel at this point, like Beckett is toying with us.
It's like that feeling you get when you realize you were fooled by a magic trick, but it's not even a good trick. And yet, you can't help but be impressed by the audacity of it all.
And the thing is, Vladimir and Estragon, they go through this same dance in Act 1. They question if they're even in the right place, if they've gotten the day wrong.
Exactly. It's like this hall of mirrors reflecting the same moment back at you over and over again.
And just when you think you found your way out, you bump into another mirror image of yourself, stuck right back where you started.
And that's where Beckett really gets you. He doesn't give you a way out, no escape hatch, no neat little bow to tie everything up.
So what are we left with then? A whole lot of nothing.
Not nothing. We're left with the same thing Vladimir and Estragon are left with each other, and the weight of their choices.
They choose to stay, though. They could leave, but they don't.
They could, but what would they do if they weren't waiting for Godot? Who would they be? It's almost like the waiting gives them purpose, even if it's a purpose rooted in the absence of something.
It's like they've built their entire existence around this idea of Godot, this promise of something to come.
And that's what makes Waiting for Godot so relatable, so human. We all have our own Godots, those things we tell ourselves we need, those events we're waiting for before we can truly start living.
But what if Godot never arrives? What then?
That's the question Beckett leaves us with. It's not about finding Godot, it's about what we do while we wait. Do we let the waiting consume us? Or do we find meaning in the absurdity of it all?
That's a pretty profound thought to end on. So, after all this, what's the takeaway? Should we all just embrace the absurdity and wait for our own personal Godots?
I think the takeaway is simpler than that. Waiting for Godot isn't a guidebook, it's a mirror. It's up to us to look at those reflections, at those uncomfortable truths, and decide how we want to live our lives.
Not with a sense of waiting for something to happen, but with a sense of purpose, of agency, in the face of all the absurdity and uncertainty that life throws our way. And on that note, we'll bring this deep dive to a close. We've explored the barren landscape of Waiting for Godot, grappled with its enigmatic characters, and hopefully come away with more questions than answers. That's the beauty of Beckett. He doesn't offer easy solutions, but instead invites us to embrace the ambiguity and find our own meaning in the waiting.
And who knows, maybe that's enough.